This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Do you ever have a story that you just can't get out of your head?
One that you play the details of over and over with your friends?
Well, you've come to the right place. I'm Claire.
And I'm Susan.
And this is Justice Pending,
a weekly true crime podcast where we discuss tantalizing crimes with more questions than answers.
Welcome back to Justice Pending. I'm Claire.
And I'm Susan. And today we're taking you to Paris, but not for baguettes. We're talking about the most audacious museum heist in modern history, the day thieves stole the French crown jewels from the Louvre in just 7 minutes.
7 minutes. That's barely enough time to find parking at the Louvre.
Or make coffee. But these thieves, they managed to outwit one of the world's most secure museums. Well, we'll get to the secure part. And make off with nearly $102 million in jewels belonging to Napoleon's family.
It's got everything you'd expect from a good heist story: disguises, motorbikes, glittering jewels, and an international manhunt. So let's set the scene.
Oh, we love a good heist. Okay, it is Sunday morning, October 19th, 2025. The Louvre has been open for just half an hour when a truck pulls up to the side of the museum. It's 9:30 a.m.
Inside that truck are 4 men dressed like construction workers. They have reflective vests, helmets, the whole shebang. Almost immediately, they raise an extendable ladder and climb up to the second floor balcony leading to the Apollo Gallery, home of the French crown jewels.
Which, by the way, is just a few rooms from the Mona Lisa. So imagine being that close to the painting, but instead you're going for Napoleon's diamonds.
I mean, eye on the prize, Susan. How are you going to sneak out of the building with the Mona Lisa, right? Let alone sell that on the black market.
Oh, you do it for the thrill of it. But back to the story that did unfold. At 9:34 a.m., these men cut through a window using an angle grinder. Sparks are flying, alarms are starting to chirp, but museum staff assume it's maintenance because of how they're dressed.
Isn't that so genius? I mean, no one would think in broad daylight on a Sunday morning that this is a heist going on in plain sight.
It's so brazen. So once they get inside, they smash open 2 display cases, which does seem hard to do. I mean, you'd think there would be some kind of aquarium glass or something, but within minutes, the thieves grab 9 pieces of jewelry. So those include sapphire and emerald necklaces, tiaras, earrings. And, that's the kind of stuff that comes with its own history, each piece.
Right. I mean, I just can totally see this playing out in my head from like movies, like Ocean's 11, right? And you just have to think that in that moment, it had to be so surreal that they obviously planned this meticulously. And here it is going exactly according to plan up to this point. And they have the actual jewels in their hands. It just had to be this extremely heart-stopping moment to be like, oh, we're actually doing this. We really broke into the Louvre and we now have the crown jewels.
I mean, literally the crown jewels. The thing that I think what people love about a heist, obviously it's wrong and it's the ultimate form of theft, but no one gets hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, that we know of so far.
I have to say, yes, as a person who is always on the murder beat, it was refreshing to have a true crime story with justice pending that we could talk about where no one had died to date, as far as we know. So it was pretty, it was exciting. I was excited, Susan, when I texted you about this one.
Yes. I mean, so what happened? So, and by the way, I could just see people thinking, oh, no, they're supposed to be there. Oh, someone forgot to turn off the alarm over there.
Right.
It's just
ridiculous. And if the staff isn't panicking, the patrons aren't going to panic. So I bet, we've all been somewhere where the fire alarm goes off or, and everyone just kind of looks around like, Is this
Right.
something I need to actually worry about? Or do the people in charge know what's going on? And it's just a test, right? And then people usually kind of wave you off or tell you to exit quietly. And sounds like that's what happened here, that everyone had the mistaken impression that nothing was amiss. And so it's 9:37 a.m. when the alarm fully triggers. It's no longer this slight chirping where, something might get turned off, or it's full blast. And just 1 minute later, the thieves are gone. They've climbed back down the ladder, they've hopped onto two motorbikes that were waiting below and vanished into Paris traffic heading toward the highway.
Yes. And the only snafu to this point is that in their rush to leave, they drop something, and not just something.
Right. It was the crown of an actual empress, a 1,000 diamond masterpiece that was found dinted near the scene.
Chronic spontaneous urticaria, or chronic hives with no known cause. It's so unpredictable. It's like playing pinball. Itchy red bumps start on my arm, then my back, sometimes my legs. Hives come out of nowhere. And it comes and goes. But I just found out about a treatment option at treatmyhives.com. Take that, chronic hives. Learn more at treatmyhives.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of like robbing Tiffany's and dropping the Hope Diamond on your way out. Sort of, oops.
Yeah, it's a real that's a tragedy right there, to think that you would have Butterfingers on 1,000 diamond crown is
Of historic
unfortunate.
significance, by the way.
Right, right. And so they think at first that it's just the crown, but investigators later found two grinders, a blowtorch, gloves, and gasoline near the scene. This is the kind of DIY kit you really hope your Airbnb guests aren't packing.
Yeah. So, okay, an hour later, approximately. So by 10:34 a.m., the French culture minister is already posting on X, confirming there's been a robbery at the Louvre. But there have been no injuries and the investigation is underway.
Yes. And so 10 minutes later, the museum announces that it's closing for, quote, exceptional reasons. I love the French, right? I mean, it's just an incredible turn of phrase. So, I mean, they've been robbed blind and they're like, I guess we should shut the place down.
So kind of amazing. And then they went radio silent. So the Louvre stays closed for 3 whole days while investigators comb through every inch. They collect 150 trace evidence samples. So fingerprints, DNA from a helmet and a glove. And yes, even a yellow vest dropped near the Seine River.
So that yellow vest becomes iconic. The thieves had used it to blend in, the construction. This is a bright vest. So security staff thought nothing of it. It was genius until they left it behind.
And within days, so everyone probably in the world is now watching this because it's so unbelievable. There hasn't been a good heist in a while. I mean, we're all sort of looking at this like you said, it's sort of like a movie. And within days, a dramatic video surfaces. So there's 2 men on a cherry picker leaving the Apollo Gallery and then racing off on motorbikes. And I do have to say that I don't know if it was fabricated or not, but I did see the German company who is the maker of that cherry picker, of that construction vehicle, has now used that image of it hanging out outside the Louvre. And the tagline is something like, when things need to get done in a hurry, or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, never let a crisis go to waste, right? I mean, this is, yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So the video surfaces. We don't know where it comes from. If it's a home video, if it's someone on their phone, if it's security from another building. I'm actually not sure, but
yeah, I think it was security. Yeah, I think it was security from another building. And one of those people is wearing that same yellow construction vest.
Yeah. Oh, it's actually you're right. They did confirm the footage came from inside the museum, actually captured by staff security cameras.
So I think we've talked about how fascinating this is from a criminal minds sort of perspective, the idea that they could come up with this, carry it out. But, French President Emmanuel Macron calls it an attack on heritage. We have to remember that these are priceless jewels. Yes, they are incredibly valuable and obviously tempting to steal, but to actually take them is a theft of history. And you are robbing the French people and the entire world of these artifacts. So justice must be pursued. So 60 detectives are assigned to the case. So this kind of like Ocean's 11 meets Interpol at this point.
It's amazing. I mean, there's even talk of tightening security under the Louvre Nouvelle Renaissance. Hope I'm saying that all right. Project. It sounds elegant, but it basically means no more construction vests in the diamond room. I love this. No more construction vests in the diamond room. It is so literal and apparently so necessary.
Yes, I think your French is très magnifique. So yes, there's a former FBI art crime expert named Robert Whitman who told reporters that the thieves' biggest advantage was daylight because people just assumed, oh, construction must be normal. I mean, these construction workers, they come out early in the morning. Crews work early. I would say not usually on a Sunday. That's something else that I think was so criminal genius in this because the Louvre staff was smaller on Sundays. It was smaller than usual, and it was also just a low traffic time. So the idea that a Sunday morning at 9 a.m., it's actually not a bad time to rob a place because it's no one's thinking about that. Saturday night, midnight, 2 a.m. That's when you think someone's gonna rob a place, any place, much less the Louvre.
That's right. That's right. I mean, yeah, you would. It was just so brazen. It's just so brazen. But Robert Whitman also kind of reprimanded them in a way, the thieves, and said, if you're going to do a crime, you do it alone, you leave no evidence, and you don't tell anyone. And that just sounds like a movie quote at this point, but it is true because between the, however many of them there were. So, I think we're talking about 4 total people, right?
That's the visible number of bodies. And they've always been referred to as men. I'm curious if there might be some disguises going on. Maybe they're all male, maybe they're not. Also, you have to wonder in an operation like this, if there are people outside, watching the entrances and the exits, walkie-talkies, are people, in a van somewhere. How did they get those motorbikes? I think that the group is probably actually even larger than 4 people, which does create a lot of opportunities to get caught.
Yeah, I mean, people talk, right?
It's
just I hesitate to use the word fun, but such a really widely publicized crime. You'd think people would keep their mouths shut, but there's probably someone in that group that wants to get a little credit and a little, glory for this amongst their friend crew. So who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're on to them. So 8 days later, October 26th, the first arrests are made.
So one man was nabbed at Charles de Gaulle Airport trying to board a flight to Algeria. The other was about to head to Mali.
And both were arrested for organized theft and criminal conspiracy.
French officials said they're still searching for the remaining two thieves and the jewels, which have vanished into the underworld of art trafficking.
I mean, you can practically picture them being smuggled across Europe piece by piece, maybe even recut. I mean, I'm trying to think back to heist movies. I mean, how,
Oh, yeah.
like, how did they do it there? You know, the
Yeah,
Thomas
I mean,
Crown Affair. I mean, there's so many good ones.
there really are. Yeah, Thomas Crown Affair is a great one. Yeah, I think we're all looking at the playbook and saying, oh, they're taking apart that crown. They're going to have all these individual diamonds that are going to be smuggled and sold, and it won't be as obvious where these actually came from. The idea that they might be sitting in a private collection somewhere, hiding in plain sight, which would be the most Louvre appropriate fate ever. It's to be seen.
Yeah. I mean, so let's talk about what's missing. So they're not just sparkly accessories. They are history, as you said earlier.
Yeah, so there is a bodice bow from Empress Eugenia and a tiara with a sapphire necklace. Their diamond earrings. Each piece was part of France's royal lineage.
Yeah, they on the news is reporting it's really worth $102 million, but the cultural value is really priceless at this point.
Yeah, they did leave one stone behind, a 140 carat Regent diamond, one of the largest and most famous in the world. Maybe they couldn't fit it in their bag, maybe they couldn't lift it, or, maybe even thieves know when to quit.
Yeah, I mean they were operating under a tight timeline, I imagine, and had probably been timing it perfectly.
Yeah.
So like who are these guys? Are they professionals? Are they insiders?
Yeah, I mean, the truck, the ladder, the precision, it just has planning written all over it. But the evidence trail, the DNA, fingerprints, a crown dropped on the pavement, kind of has a real amateur vibe to it.
Yeah, it does. And there's been some who have speculated that they might have had help from someone familiar with museum routines, security schedules, construction access.
Oh, yeah. I mean, inside jobs are the most common type of massive thefts, right? Because that kind of information gives you major advantages. And it wouldn't be the first time that museum insiders have, been part of something like this. There was a theft at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston where someone who worked at the museum was later found to be helping the thieves.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple Netflix specials on that one. So
Yes, definitely.
can't wait for the one about this. But here's what's really wild. I mean, despite all our technology, despite the technological age we live in, that there's cameras everywhere, art theft still works because of human psychology. I mean, that's what won in this case. The guards assuming the visitors are distracted, chaos in calm places. I mean, it's like you said, sort of like, well, no one else is reacting, so I'm not going to bat an eye, but it was happening right under people's noses.
Yes, the idea that this was a social crime is so fascinating because anyone could have reacted differently and made an outcry, and it could have had a completely different outcome. But unfortunately, they assumed that the people who were acting very professionally and like it was business as usual, that they were supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So, the Louvre might have bulletproof glass, but it can't defend against complacency.
Yeah, I am impressed they got through that bulletproof glass, to be honest. I mean, that itself would have,
They had to have tested it, Susan.
Yeah.
They had to have gotten a similar kind and known that they could have drilled through it. Or that's my theory, that they knew that these tools were going to do the job. And it's incredible. I don't think there's a way, obviously people at the Louvre are going to be studying this crime for a very long time and figuring out how it could be prevented. But it just kind of reminds me of one of the scariest lessons from my time in true crime television as a producer for 48 Hours on CBS. And that's, if somebody wants to get to you, they will get to you. There is no amount of security, there are no amount of precautions that will allow you to be untouchable.
That's right.
And that's just the sad truth. You have to know that you do whatever you can to protect yourself, to protect your valuables, to protect your loved ones. But if someone really wants it, they're going to find a way.
That's so true. So as of right now, the recording of this podcast, we got 2 suspects in custody. We have 2 on the run and maybe more to be determined, and missing jewels. This is where we stand, Claire.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I think the first 2 that got picked up, obviously, they are being questioned. They are being interrogated. And you have to think, if they were coordinated enough to pull off this attack, are they going to be strong enough to keep quiet, to not name names, not try to cut a deal for themselves, and rat out their friends, rat out their co-conspirators? I don't know. If anyone can keep a secret, I would think it's a team that had done something really difficult like this together, but it's going to be quite tempting for them to cut a deal because there's a ticking clock to cut a deal. You can cut a deal before everyone gets picked up, but once everyone's picked up, it's much harder to make that deal. So I guess we're going to find out how good of friends and how good of criminals these people really are.
That's right. And we'll be eagerly awaiting the movie version because that's basically what this has become.
Yeah, the script is being written right now in real time, right, Susan?
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, I mean, somewhere out there, a tiara once worn by an empress is sitting in a box, maybe in a Paris apartment, maybe halfway across the world.
That's true. I mean, we'll just wait and see.
Yes, I can see that as an ending shot of the movie, right? You see the tiara sitting in a nondescript apartment.
Maybe across the street. We don't know.
Yes. Yeah, it's wild. Well, we'll keep watching this case, and maybe one day we'll get to report that the jewels are home where they belong in the Louvre.
Yeah, and until then, lock your windows, guard your diamonds, and, even the Louvre isn't theft-proof.
Thanks for listening to Justice Pending. We'll be back next week with an all-new case. Justice Pending is recorded in Dallas, Texas for Rebel Studios. It's hosted by me, Claire Sanamaw, and Susan Passoni. Our theme music is Bending Truth, licensed at premiumbeat.com. We appreciate all listener feedback. Leave a review wherever you're listening right now, and we might read it on the air. Thanks for joining us.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.